Well, hello everyone, and welcome back this week to my channel. If you're returning, again, thank you so much for coming back and just being a part of my world, my life, my art journey. I just appreciate you so much. I just am getting to know some of you a little bit better every week, and it means so much to me. Thank you for those that are part of my membership. I'm truly blessed for you. And thank you, Rick, left me a super thanks, which was so kind of you. I'm assuming, Rick, you're a male, so you had indicated that you hadn't painted in over 20 years, and something I did inspired you, which meant the world to me. So thank you for that little super thanks. That was a great surprise when I woke up the other morning. But this week, I wanted to share with you, of course, I'm still doing some small paintings. Next week, I'm going to do a painting, get a little brave with my arm on raw canvas. But this week, I wanted to do a series of paintings that are very, very loose, very unusual, very textured, with things in them that I normally would not put on paper. And what I wanted to talk to you about was the series and how, and I've mentioned this before, I do have a couple of videos out there. When I do series, I actually do write a preliminary artist series statement. And the reason why I do that is because it keeps me totally focused. So I typed one up, and I'm going to kind of talk about it and see if you see some of the things I'm talking about in these paintings. But I call it Visceral Simplicity. And mainly I'm using black paint, black gesso, acrylic, different materials. Like this is raw canvas that I cut up. I have some staples in here on paper. I have some cheesecloth in here. And of course, my charcoal, which does, when you rub it, it does rub in. And my focus is on line, form, structure, minimalism, and effusion. And it's imperfection. It's a limited palette. And the limited palette is a lot of the grays and blacks. I'm very neutral focus lately, it seems. It's creating immediate, profound, raw, powerful effect for the visceral response. And the visceral response is how you look at it. You may not be able to tell, especially on this one from a camera view, but there is a lot of texture, a lot of things to touch in here. And that's why I call this a fusion of the minimalism and expressionism. It's blending the simplicity and the clarity of minimalistic design with an emotional intensity and dynamic gestures, marks, materials of expressionistic art. This down here is also a piece of the cheesecloth, and I've left deliberately some wrinkles in here just to give it a lot of texture. This is the raw canvas that I have pulled strings from to keep that within the art. It's like the fusion is the chosen language in this series. It's a way to just convey complex emotions through seemingly simple forms. These are very simple, and yet I want it to be, because of the things I'm putting in here, I want it to be have a emotional reaction if only anything for myself. For instance, just adding some random staples. I mean, I'm not done with these. I'm just still in the process of bringing these to life. And I also learned about the term Wabi Sabi. That's become very popular. It's actually a form of your design in your home. But Wabi Sabi, and how I love it, it's the beauty of imperfection and transience. So with the irregularities, it's like this flatness of artwork, and the limited color palette. It's all very intentional. Here's a piece I'm working on. It's actually on a paper bag, and I've added a piece of paper, and then I accidentally laid another piece on top of it, and when I pulled it off, it left very imperfect, unusual marks, which gave it incredible texture. Each piece is a meditation piece. I love just to sit and look at them. It's like a meditation of the simplicity of the work, an exploration of how minimal elements can express profound truths and expression. And through my surgery that I had, I had to do, I've had 2 surgeries in the last year. I've spent a lot of time not able in the art studio, but spending time just thinking, which has really been good, because that has really helped me. I dream about my art. I mean, how many of you dream about a painting? I remember when I go under, and, the anesthesiologist says, I'm going to, they talk to you. And, sometimes they say, okay, just dream about something. And I always tell them I'm going to be dreaming about a big painting that I'm going to be painting while I'm under. And a lot of times I wake up and I have these ideas. So maybe that's what I do dream about. I don't know. But the time spent just contemplating and thinking about simplistic design has just encouraged me to work on this series. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a couple of these, and they're not going to be finished pieces of artwork. But what I hope is to take these and actually I can either rough up the edges, or I can leave it just like this and put it on a flat type of a board and frame it so this just shows, not under glass. I don't want this under glass. I want all the textures, all the marks of this to show, the imperfections. I want it to be a part of this. I love the fact that on this one it was a mistake, and it's so imperfect. And I think that's what leaves some marks that are just absolutely incredible. So let's get some paper and let's see what we can create under the umbrella of the visceral simplicity. And I hope you understand that why I create a statement, because just knowing that I'm thinking about minimalism, I'm thinking about imperfection, I'm thinking about the Wabi Sabi, I'm thinking about just the irregular marks and unusual things, the flatness, the limited color palette. I'm thinking about how powerful each of these things can be. I mean, there's not much here, and yet adding something like staples here and just the water soaking into the canvas is a art form in itself to me. Not everybody's going to like this type of art, but I love it. And I'm going to show these framed with, like I said, I'm not going to cover this under glass, so you can see how powerful even a couple of these would look like in a room. So let's clean this up, and I will get my paper ready and some paints and some things together, and let's just create and see where this takes us. All right, here's my pile. I also wanted to know what you think about the view. I have a little different setup with my camera. I think it's much clearer. I have had people say that the blurriness kind of bothers them a little bit. I can understand it. I don't have the greatest eyesight in the world, so but I do want a good experience for you. It means a lot to me. So I'm hoping that this is clearer. So I have a cute little container here. I have just full of things. I have some cheesecloth. I have some raw canvas. I have my wooden mixed media, a piece of a napkin. I have some of that coriated cardboard, some papers that I have painted on I may throw in. Here is some ribbon that we can stretch out and make some unusual pieces pulled from it. Here's another ribbon. I absolutely love this one. Let me kind of put it over here. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. Just put it under here. I'm for sure going to put that in a piece because I love that. Let's see. Here's some, this is just off of a old painting that I got from the craft, or from the a store, what do you call it? Charity shop. Thrift shop, that's what we call them in America. But charity shop, I've heard them say that. It gets stuck in my head. But here's just another piece off of a piece of artwork. But these are beautiful. Lots of texture here, but have some veins in it. So we've got all this that we can include. How imperfect are all these things? How wabi sabi this is, right? So I hope that this inspires you to, you can do this creation on paper or on canvas, on board, whatever you want. But since I have like a series, and by the way, a series can be even 2 or 3 pieces of artwork that are very similar, that you have focused on a particular theme or a particular way that you want to create, or it can be all the way up to 25 pieces. I've done a whole series where I filled a whole gallery, a show with a lot of pieces. But I'm going to do maybe 2 or 3 for you. And the paper I'm using is just the Strathmore, not the real expensive, because I'm putting a lot on it. I don't need a good watercolor paper because I'm not going to be using this for pure watercolor type painting. This is 11 by 15 and it's 140 pounds. So I didn't want to forget to show you that. So let me put a couple, let me do one at a time. And I did get an additional light here that hopefully that will help for you to see what I'm creating. Let's turn this way. And we can start with, I am going to start with some, see what the dirty water. Let me get a big brush. I have some black high flow here, but I'm just going to add, if this were more watercolor paper that soaked in more, this dirty water, I have a video on using dirty water on really like pure cotton, and it just really soaks in. Absolutely beautiful when you use dirty water. That's a whole technique. But I may just drop some black high flow in there. Like I said, this is a very imperfect style. So I'm not sure what direction. And I may put some of this, I may have to put this to the side so this dries. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry this. You won't hear it because I turned the camera down for you so you don't hear it. It looks absolutely beautiful. Now, even though my other pieces are very neutral and black and white, I may not stick with that with this next couple paintings because I have a lot of different colors in here. I don't know. I don't know what direction I'm going to go. We're going to do this together. So, you know, if you tear it one way, you're going to get the white, which is what I want. And if you tear it the other way, then let's see, like this. Well, I can't think backwards right now, but if you tear it one way, you're going to get the white edge showing. If you tear it the other way, it has a cleaner edge. You know what I mean. There we go, like that. Not quite sure. I'm just going to throw some. Oh, I like that. I'm just going to throw some things on here. I love this, but I think because I have such a beautiful focal point with that, almost looks like an eye there with this white. I don't want to throw that on because I want to save this for something that's going to be, that might be the focal point. I'm just going to try some different things here. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go. That's too dynamic. I'm going to save that for a piece on its own. Let's see. You could build things up. It's beautiful. I'm not quite sure I'm going to use that piece. I think I had a bigger, but these are beautiful pieces of paper. Might go in, you know, something that is not, I mean, these would be more of the focal point type thing. I think I'm liking this. Let's see what else. Something about this. Just different enough for me to like. All right, it doesn't mean that I can't add other paint and stuff to it. So let me add that. I'm going to use heavy gel from Golden to put this on. My palette knives are so well used. I mean, to me, that's a piece of artwork right there in itself. I just love this. Sprinkle some gold on there, and it's a beautiful piece. Getting kind of low on my jar here, but let's add a nice thick layer. Let's make sure this is all covered. Then I'm going to put some on the back here. It's like icing a cupcake. So maybe I'll put this one on top too. There, it's nice and stuck. Just let that dry. Whoops. You know what? I like that. I like that wrinkle in there. Imperfection. That's what this is. So I like that wrinkle. I could bring in some charcoal at this point. Okay, let's put this piece to the side. You know, I could leave this like this. Let's let it dry and see what we think. Let's do another one. All right, let's start this one with some cheesecloth. Okay. Again, we're going to have to, I don't necessarily need to use the thick. This is a glazing medium that can be used. Spread out. I'm going to actually cut a hole in that, cut a hole down here, take the chunk out. Okay. This definitely is not going to be laid down perfect. Again, this is glazing medium because I have it. I have plenty of it. There's a Mod Podge that is archivable you can use. I never know when a piece is going to sell, if a piece is going to sell. So I try to always use good materials. Those paintings I did that were the dirty water, soon as my video was done and I posted them on Instagram, I sold them all. So I like to use finer materials. So if I do sell them, and I sold those to someone who's, I think, my biggest collector that I have to date. She has a lot of my art. But she saw those, sent a message that I have to have those. All right. So it's hard to see for you. But let me see if you can see if I kind of tilt it. That's the cheesecloth. Maybe let me get a fan brush. I may use some of this high flow. Let me dip my fan brush. Okay. This is the high flow. Now you notice I did 5 marks. Something about having imbalanced. So if I did 4, it would have looked okay. But adding just 1 more and uneven, it's like the eye likes unevenness. Do some freckles there. My freckles come out in the summer. So this is very wet. Is there anything I want to add while I can on there? I don't know, maybe. Diva's in here with me today. She's in here a lot with me. Bless her heart. Diva's my cat, if you're new. She's very old. I try to make her very happy. She forgets when she eats. So sometimes I'll take her bowl that I just put down, she's walked away from. She comes back, wants more food. The reason why I take it away from her because I know her habits. She'll walk away and then she'll come back, want more food. I put it down like it's a brand new bowl of food, and she's so happy. If only she could talk and tell me what she's thinking. All right. I don't know what you think about this, but what I'm noticing is the thickness of these lines are all the same. And really you want variety. Even the thickness of here is the same. You want variety of thickness. So really one of these should be a little bit thicker if I want to have some variety. Let's just see if it makes a difference when I do this. A little bit of a difference there. Now, you never know. I'm taking a lot of risk here because some of you may look at that and say, Cheryl, that's ugly. That is really ugly. You know what? It doesn't matter at this point. At this point, I am just experimenting, playing, having fun. And the part where I worry about if it's going to look beautiful will come later. And another thing, your art is your art. And I said in the last video, if you didn't listen to that, let me say it again. You're creating your art. The only way that you're going to get to the point where your art is something that you truly enjoy, that not every piece is going to be something you enjoy, but you truly enjoy, and you've gotten there, and you're going to be selling your art, and it's appealing to others, is to keep practicing, keep playing, keep painting. If you stop, because your piece is ugly and you don't keep going, you're never going to learn. Some of the things I've learned from have been when I kept going. And I did things that, well, I always paint myself too. I did things that were out of the ordinary. So I'm not sure where this piece is going, but it definitely has texture. And I may come in when this dries. In fact, I may dry this. I'll turn the tape down. Because at this point, there's a lot of that cheesecloth that has to dry. Now, just a point, it's harder for you to see, but let me bring it closer. These are all thick, so adding some thin charcoal lines, when I'm looking at it from my viewpoint, it looks better than on the painting because you've got a little bit different of a pattern. Not sure where this is going to go. At this point, you may say, that is still really ugly, Cheryl. Well, let's just see where we go, okay? Before we give it all in. Okay, we'll do one more. Let me think. I think I'm going to do the background with some white. I'm going to put it on kind of thick. I'm going to let the brush strokes give it some texture. Pounding my brush on it to give it some texture too. Let's see if you can see that. Lots of texture on there. Let's let that dry, and then we'll see where we're going to go. I think I'm going to have to turn the tape off and come back, and the video off. I keep calling it tape. That's my age. The video off, come back a little bit later, and see what we can do. Okay, while the other things are drying, I just grabbed some other papers and I kind of just laid it down on this background here. And I took a piece of my wooden paper collage and I painted it white. I took a piece of the corrugated cardboard and painted that white. I took another piece and kind of slightly painted that, and then grab a couple pieces here. I'm going to paint over this a little bit, but this has got some texture because there's two pieces here. And then I took a piece of paper and I just spray painted some numbers on it. So let's find a place for that. So I'm going to grab some of my gel and my my palette knife. This is a thicker layer. This is kind of laid down already. Add some more gel right here. This will go down easier. Oops, some of that paint wasn't dry, but you know what? Oh, it was dry. It's just the way it looks. I like this, so I think I'm going to put another piece of that up here. Maybe not quite sure how much of this is going to stay. So let's let that dry. Definitely a Wabi Sabi. So the person who told me about the Wabi Sabi is Renee. She's been on this channel as a member for quite a while and become a friend of mine. She's the one that, I mean, I'd heard of Wabi Sabi, but I hadn't paid a lot of attention. So thank you for Renee for bringing that back to my attention, because this is fun. Please tell me what your version of Wabi Sabi is too. So we're back to this piece. Now, some of my others had a lot of black in them. Since I'm doing this for a series, I may want to bring some of the color down. Remember, when you put like this white over it, it's been known to be called veiling, or covering up by pushing back. This tub I have of white paint is almost done. It's very expensive. I think it was $32 to replace it. So it's perfect because I'm dipping in here and being very cautious. So I'm leaving a lot of marks here. You can see a lot of the cheesecloth. You can see that piece of collage there. You can see some wrinkles of the cheesecloth still showing. And I like the simplicity, the very minimalistic look here. I think I'm going to go in with some markings. Those are very light. By touching them, I'm rubbing, making them thicker by rubbing them in. Add some thick white paint. I'm liking that. Like I said, this style of painting is very raw, very rough, very minimalistic type, Wabi Sabi imperfect. And it may not be a painting that you like. I'm enjoying this myself. I'm loving how, I don't know if you can see the pattern through here. Let me see how close I can get here. There's an awful lot of the cheesecloth and the layering going on. I may want a little bit of black, and I'm going to use black gesso instead of black paint. I may want a little bit of black in some areas, just so, see, I'm loving the texture. So I don't want to add too much. I'm adding enough black to maybe draw the eye around. I still really want to keep this texture going on. So I think there's enough of a difference here. I'm going to let this dry, but I like this. I'm going to get a mat here and show you. The mat is a new mat, so I don't want to get it dirty. But if this were framed in a mat, it all of a sudden just brings out some of that black in there. I don't know which direction this painting would go, but it's very hard. You know what may help is a little bit of tighten buff, because I might need a little bit of the difference. I don't want to, again, take away from this beautiful texture, but I think yeah, that tighten buff is just enough to bring in a difference of texture. And it's really hard to be able to see this. I think if I get a photo, but there's so much texture here that you can't see on the camera, especially over here, that I really like the fact that I covered that up. So let's put that to the side. Here's another one. Again, I like all the... So again, I want to bring down some of this, and I want it to be both white and the tighten buff. The textures in here is more what I want instead of the actual color. some of that. Again, the look that I'm going for is the imperfections, the Wabi Sabi look as a whole, not for this to be a painting. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but the look I'm looking for is a different look than my normal paintings. I want this to be maybe slightly uncomfortable to look at. Maybe that's a good word for it. But at the same time, I want it to have some beauty. So the two of these together there, if I were to hang these together, I want to do a little spray on this one, but I want it to be away from okay. I'm really liking this one better than this one, and I think it's because of the cheesecloth that I see through here. This has got a lot of different layers in here, which is nice. And then the last one I did was this one. And I'm not sure what to do. So, I actually like it the way it is, but I feel like I have to do something. And maybe it's to the shock and awe of the paintbrush here. Cleaning up a little bit up here. So again, the point is not to have these perfect, to feel a little bit uncomfortable. At least that's what I'm going for. All right. So I'll do better photographs for these and show these to you. But these are meant to be unusual. They're meant to be fun. And they're meant to be very wabi sabi.
I wanted to do a close-up as close as I could get without it becoming blurry of the texture, because I can't tell you how beautiful the texture of this one painting is with all the different things that I put in here. And it was a lot of fun, and it's just, you just want to touch it. It's absolutely beautiful. So I wanted to make sure I included that in here so you could see how beautiful the painting truly is in real life.